Hello and welcome to another Sayduck platform tutorial video. In this video, we'll be talking about how to upload 3D assets to the Sayduck platform. Let's begin. So the Sayduck platform supports two types of 3D assets, so OBJs or GLB and GLTF. Let's start with the OBJs. So to upload a 3D asset, you just have to drag and drop it to the product. After the asset has been processed, it will be added to your 3D scene and your assets will be displayed on the left, so your meshes and the materials that are created. Note that now that I uploaded an OBJ, there wasn't any material details in the file, so you just assigned these base colors, which you can then edit within the Sayduck platform by just clicking on material and changing the values or assigning a texture. But more on that later. After your assets have been processed, the first thing that you should do is check with the 3D data dimensions that you have chosen the correct upload unit. I did not choose the correct upload unit, which is why my asset is so much bigger than it should be. Now, the way to fix this is to delete the assets and then upload the file with the correct upload unit, but I will not do that there. The next thing is to check that your product have been positioned to the correct place. So this is good for or needed for AR, because the 3D viewer will always center to the object, but if it's not positioned to the axis like this, then it will not be loaded in AR correctly. Third thing is to check the UV mapping, so that the UV mapping and the materials will be applied, or the textures will be applied correctly to your object. And of course you can check the polygon count so that it matches your expectations. You should always have the least amount of polygons, with the upper threshold being like 200,000 polygons. On desktop, it will usually not make a big impact, but low-end Android devices might have issues with higher polygon counts. We use Traeger compression to compress our assets, so the asset file size is very minimal, so it's not about the how much data they will add. Next, let's take a look a bit on how you should prepare your assets. So in the Sayduck platform, you should always aim to have the least amount of meshes so that it's a lot easier for you to use the platform and a lot more manageable. So for example, in my product at the moment, I have actually separated my seat here into 3 meshes. This is if I only have one material option for my seat, then this would not be the optimal use case. But if, for example, I wanted to create a configurator in which I can customize each part of these objects separately, then of course you should have these as separate meshes. There is an upper end mesh count that you can upload, which is around 25 meshes. After this, they will not get processed correctly. But if you need to have more than 25 meshes, which is very rare, then you should upload the assets in different batches. The way you can merge meshes into 2 single assets is that you can just upload or load your product in a 3D editor, such as Blender, then just select the meshes that you want to combine, like this, and then just Ctrl J, and they will be created into their own mesh. So now it's a lot easier to manage. Next, let's quickly talk about the UV mapping on how you should prepare your meshes. And how to assign like textures. So the way you should prepare your UV mapping is that you should unwrap the UVs to the same 1 by 1 UV space so that all your objects can use the same occlusion map like this. So if I assign this material to all of my nodes, I will know that the shadows will be applied correctly. If you have them with different UV mappings, then you might need to use extra or more textures than you need. The other benefit of using OBJs is that if you are building a configurator, then you should use OBJs instead of GLTF, as OBJs store the position that they are. So my seed, when it's uploaded, it's here. But if I add the seed again to this node, it will be positioned to the same place. This is not how it works in the GLTF. So if you're building configurators, I recommend using OBJs. Next, let's quickly take a look on how to update your meshes, or if you want to replace them. So once you have your mesh assets here, and if you want to update a specific part of your object, you can simply select one of these meshes here, and you have this replace mesh feature. So if I here assign the back 2, then it will replace the old asset with the new one. And as I have the centimeters here, then this will be the correct size. So if I refresh now, so once you have done all of those mesh replacements, then you have to refresh the platform and it will work. And as you can see now, our seat here, or the back here, is the correct size, which is on the centimeters. I will not do it for all because to save time. Perfect. Let's switch to GLTF. So GLTF is the format that we use internally in the platform. And this is a format that supports PBR materials. So basically you can just upload it to the platform and all of your materials and 3D assets will be processed immediately. Perfect. So as you can see, once everything is processed, you can see that your materials have been created for your object. So if you are building products with no configure option, or like that you don't have to add nodes to different variations, then using a GLTF is the sure way to go. But as you can see on the GLTF, the meshes have their position stored in their like node. So if I were to assign this seat to my 3D scene without those values, then it will be applied on the ground or the 0, 0 point. And in the GLTF, it doesn't matter which upload unit that you use. The upload unit is only for the OBJs. That was a quick guide on how to upload 3D assets to the Sayduck platform and how different assets work. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.